A jersey number change a player's personality? When Neymar moved to PSG, he didn't just want to play. He wanted one specific number on the back of his shirt. He pushed for it. He fought for it. He did whatever it took to get it, and almost every major sports outlet in the world reported it as a quirky story and moved on. Nobody asked the question that actually matters. Why would one of the best players on the planet care that deeply about a number? What did he know about that number that made it non-negotiable? Because here's what most football fans don't realize. That number wasn't just fabric and ink to Neymar. It was an identity, a psychological switch. And when he put it on, something inside him changed in a way that no transfer, no manager, and no training program could replicate. And Neymar is not alone. Ronaldo spent an entire season at Juventus visibly unsettled, and the moment he got his number 7 back, teammates described it as watching a different person walk into training. There are players who have turned down more money to stay at clubs where they could keep their number. Players whose form collapsed within weeks of a forced number change and recovered the moment they got it back. Players who have spoken in interviews about their number the way most people talk about their identity. So the real question is this: can a single digit on the back of a shirt actually change who a footballer is, how they think, how they lead, how they perform when everything is on the line? The science says yes, and what's behind that answer will completely change the way you watch football. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to tell you about one specific technique that the best clubs in world football use with jersey numbers that almost no fan has ever heard about. When you understand it, you'll never look at a squad announcement the same way again. It was never just a number. So why do footballers actually care so much about their squad number? Most people assume it's simple: tradition, superstition, maybe a bit of ego. But here's the thing. These are professional athletes who train 6 days a week, follow strict nutrition plans, and obsess over every detail of their physical performance. They are not irrational people. So why did Neymar pay over 30 million euros to a teammate just to get the number 10 at PSG? Why did Ronaldo refuse to settle at Juventus until he got his number 7 back? Why do players who are forced to change their number sometimes take months to find their form again? Because the number on your back is not just a label. It is an identity. And when that identity is taken away or handed to you for the first time, something shifts inside the player's mind before they have even touched a ball. A study in the field of enclothed cognition found that what we wear and what that clothing symbolizes directly changes how we think and perform. Participants who wore a coat labeled as a doctor's coat outperformed those wearing the identical coat labeled as a painter's. Same coat. Completely different mental output. Now imagine you're a footballer, and the shirt they just handed you has the number 10 on it, the number Maradona wore, the number Zidane wore, the number Ronaldinho wore. Your brain doesn't just see a digit, it sees a role, a standard, a history that is now yours to carry. And that changes everything before the first whistle even blows. The weight that builds you up and the weight that breaks you. Here's where it gets interesting. Because that same psychological power cuts in two completely opposite directions. And which direction it cuts depends entirely on the player receiving it. For some players, a legendary number is the greatest performance enhancer they've ever experienced. When Luis Suarez joined Barcelona and was handed the number 9, he didn't treat it as fabric. He treated it as a contract. The number 9 at Barcelona meant Ronaldo Nazario. It meant Eto'o. It meant Ibrahimovic. Suarez responded with 59 goals in 43 league appearances, one of the most devastating individual seasons in the history of football. The number told him who he was supposed to be, and he became exactly that. But for other players, the exact same mechanism becomes a trap. When a player receives a number loaded with history they feel they cannot live up to, the psychological weight doesn't lift them. It crushes them. Sports psychologists call this an identity mismatch. The feeling that the number on your back belongs to someone better than you, someone you can never be. There are players who have spoken openly about how receiving a famous number destroyed their confidence. Not because the press was harsh, not because the manager lost faith, but because every single time they looked down at their own shirt, they saw a reminder of who they weren't. Same number, two completely different psychological outcomes. The only difference was whether the player's belief in themselves was strong enough to carry it. And hey, if this is making you see football differently, smash that like button and subscribe. It's the best way to help us reach more football fans who want to understand what's really happening inside the game. So can a jersey number change a player's personality? The psychology, the science, and the stories of players across generations all point to the same answer. Yes. Not because numbers have magical properties, but because human beings perform who they believe they are.